Welcome to the 49ers Cutback. We're going to be talking about the state of the NFC West and how each of the teams are stacking up and where the 49ers fit in with that. Horst, what do you think so far about how things are going in the NFC West, and are the 49ers sitting in a good spot?
Yeah, I think 49ers are fine right now. Obviously, we'd like to have that game against Arizona back and like to be 3-0 without a loss in the division. But as we said after that game, it wasn't the end of the world. It's a tough division. The worst record is 2-1, with 3 teams sharing that, and then Seattle's 3-0. But I think within one game of Seattle, we're in striking distance. Even if you don't win the division, you can still make the playoffs. The 49ers are definitely still can control the narrative of what happens in their season, which is exactly where you want to be. They're totally fine right now.
Absolutely. The state of the NFC West, too, is exactly what everyone thought it was going to be going into the season, which is the best conference in football. It is the best conference in both the AFC and the NFC. It is very obvious based on the records that we've been having, the games that we've been playing. The big question mark, or not the big question mark, but the big thing I think that surprises me is outside of the 49ers, a lot of these other defenses, maybe with the exception of Arizona's, are showing some question marks. There's some question marks with that Rams D. There are definitely some big question marks with Seattle's defense. Arizona's has looked solid, but then, some turnovers today, and the Lions got some easy points up on the board. That Arizona defense isn't as good as they looked week 1, and I don't think they're going to be consistent all season long. They're really going to have to rely on their offense to play consistent and Kyler Murray not to make mistakes. He made them today, and now they dropped the game out of conference.
Yeah, the 49ers, I think, were caught off guard by Arizona in week 1, only because I don't think the 49ers really hit on all cylinders, and that kind of set them back. But I think since then, the 49ers have been getting better and better each week. Even though they've been hurt by injuries, they're still making great plays and winning games. And if you look at the common opponents that these teams have had, really, if you look at opponents, they're not, NFC West hasn't played a lot of great teams yet. Seattle's had a couple of big games, but both the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks both took care of the Cowboys. So that's a common thing. The difference was Seattle really couldn't stop the Cowboys, where the Rams played the Cowboys offense very tough. So, I think when you're starting to look at things, it's like, okay, the 49ers probably have the best defense in the NFC West. The question is, do they have enough offense to play against, Seattle and Mr. Unlimited? He's still putting up big-time points. Horst, what do you think? Do you think they have enough defense to eventually be able to overtake the Seattle Seahawks at the top of the NFC West?
Yeah, I definitely think they do. Seattle's giving up just under 30 points a game right now. Now, I realize they're scoring almost 40, so that's why they're 3-0. But it's one of those things where we all know that in big games, most of the time, your offense can have mistakes, but a great defense almost always shows up.
Right.
And the 49ers are allowing just under 13 points a game right now. And Seattle's giving up almost 30. So, even though they are tied for second or last, whichever way you want to look at it, 49ers by far have the highest differential in points in the division, and they've lost a game. So, I think that Seattle is a very good team. They're a problem. They're a threat, like always. But I think their cracks in their defense are going to start to show up the further we get in the season. I know Russell Wilson's a great player. He's going to get his plays. He's going to make his plays. But it's going to be hard. He's going to have to put up 35, 40 points every game for them to win. And that's not a sustainable thing usually.
No, and they got a tough stretch coming up, too. Yes, they have the Dolphins, but the Dolphins have been playing people pretty solid for the most part. They've been at least keeping things competitive. The Vikings after that, and the Vikings are going to be fighting for their life. After this 0-3 start, these next 3 weeks are crucial for the Minnesota Vikings, so they're going to be giving every team their best look. After that, they got the Cardinals, who, like we said, they surprised us week 1 and have been playing pretty solid, so there's a good chance that you're going to get a good game. And then after that, they got us, the Bills, and the Rams, and then followed by the Cardinals yet again. So that's a nice 4-game tough stretch right there in the middle of the season, followed up by the Eagles, who at that point they're either going to have figured this out and be a team to contend with in the NFC, or they're going to be completely selling and trying to figure out what to do for next season. They have a little bit of an easier stretch down the way. Their tough part of the schedule is right in the middle, heart of the season. And that's where the Niners will have a chance to kind of catch back up with them. And like we said, we want to keep ourselves within a game, keep ourselves in striking distance. That middle portion of the season is where we're going to have a chance to make our move for that top spot, so long as we can stay healthy and continue beating the teams that we're supposed to beat early on here in the season.
Yeah, I think the big question marks for the 49ers are injuries. Just can they overcome the injuries? But the big question marks for Seattle are what we've always seen the big question marks be: offensive line and defensive pass rush. And those problems aren't going away. Jamal Adams is blitzing at, record pace for the Seattle defense. But is that sustainable? Because if you catch him in bad blitzes, you can make big-time plays. The 49ers, if they can get healthy, get Debo back, Brandon Ayuk keeps improving, Jordan Reed, George Kittle, the running back side of the backfield, there's just too many weapons for those guys to be able to match up with. So the Seattle defense is going to have a hard time matching up with the 49ers offense. I'm not so sure that the 49ers defense is going to have as bad a time with Mr. Unlimited. I think they're going to put pressure on him and cause problems. And I think that it will be a higher scoring game than I think we've seen in the past from these two teams.
Yeah.
But I do think the 49ers are right where they need to be, because we're about to start getting healthy here in the next couple weeks. And then that's when we'll see the real, true 49ers stand up. The real Slim Shady, please stand up. And here they'll be.
And by name value, the teams Seattle has beaten look good.
Yeah.
New England's looking solid, but they're still a little bit of a question mark. Cam's playing well, but New England took them down to the last second. Dallas, they're 1-2. They're pretty much the same thing they've been for years. Explosive. One day they look great. One day they look terrible. You don't know what you're going to get from them. They took them down to the wire. So it's not like they're coming in here and blowing these teams out.
Yeah.
They did what they have to do. They've beaten the teams put in front of them, and that's what you have to do. No disrespect to them, because they're our best rival, and I still think this division comes down to 49ers and Seahawks. I think the Cardinals are much improved, but once again, it's one of those things where maybe when people get more film on them, their offense is going to slow down a little bit.
Possibly.
Alex, question for you.
Okay.
Are all three NFC wildcard teams going to come from the NFC West?
I think so.
Looking like it.
It looks like it. If you look at the rest of the NFC, even the NFC North, Lions are 1-2. Yeah, they just got a big win today. They needed it. They needed to stay relevant. The Vikings, I don't think they're going to figure it out. They got some serious issues and problems over there. The loss of Danielle Hunter is bigger for that team than I think people realize. It's not good for them. It's not looking good for their defense. Their defense looks like they're struggling really bad right now, losing some of the pass rushing identity. It's obvious they don't have the depth at the D-line position that a team like we do have, like the Niners. The Packers look solid. I don't think this keeps up for the Bears, the 3-0 pace that they're on right now. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be. Who knows? But if you're looking at a quarterback situation in which you're benching Mitchell Trubisky and relying on Nick Foles for an entire season, that hasn't worked well for anybody. No, he didn't play the whole season. He played at the end of the season and through the playoffs. He had a nice little 5-game stretch run. Can Nick Foles do it for a full season?
Can he stay healthy?
Can he stay healthy and perform at that level for a full season? He's never done it. Not once in his entire career has he performed at that level for 17, 18 games. I don't think they can do it. I think if you're having to rely on Nick Foles to be the guy, you got big problems. And Mitchell Trubisky is erratic all over the place. I think that you eventually have a team like that drop off. The only other conference in which I could see two potentially coming out of is the NFC South with the Bucs and the Saints. And the Saints last week on Monday night, that Saints game, I got some big questions about their defense. And how long are you going to be without Michael Thomas? And if Drew Brees doesn't have his security blanket, how powerful and potent is that offense going to be? Obviously, they're still extremely talented. No one's going to take away Alvin Kamara, Jared Cook. Emmanuel Sanders, even though he didn't get any targets really in that game, is still a reliable threat, especially as a possession receiver. They still have a lot of weapons. It's just a matter of how high-powered is that offense going to be.
Is Drew Brees going to bring his grown-up arm to this game?
Who knows?
Well, I think Michael Thomas missing was huge.
It is.
For them. I still think the Saints are going to be somebody to be reckoned with. They still took care of business when it came to Tampa Bay, so until Tampa Bay beats the Saints, I would say the Saints are still the team to beat in that division. But yeah, the question is going to be which three teams from the NFC West are going to come out of that, and be the wild card. Because if these teams split with each other, It's going to be a battle to see what it is. The Rams are playing better than I thought they were going to play this year.
Yes,
They've
absolutely.
definitely showed up. Their defense is still shaky at times, and I still don't think Goff is a big-time quarterback, especially coming down the stretch. So I don't think that you have to worry about that in the end. But
Darrell Henderson is playing well. I was actually surprised by that. If I thought it was going to be a running back there, I figured it was going to be the rookie Cam Akers.
injured.
I know he's injured, but Darrell Henderson has stepped up big time for
Right.
them and helped them with the run game. And that's the thing that Jared Goff needs. He needs a run game to lean on. He has to have it. If he doesn't have it, we saw it last year. If he doesn't have it, he can't do it by himself. He needs to have that guy that he can lean on to help bring guys into the box, create matchups on the outside for a speedy receiver, so he has one-on-one matchups that he can throw at.
Yeah, I think the Rams are somebody that can be kind of game plan for.
Yeah.
They don't get real creative on their play calls and stuff like that.
How dare you? Sean McVay is an offensive genius. That's what they were saying for so long.
Well, yeah, all of a sudden it was 3 receiver, 3-by-1. Let's go. They're ready. And now everyone figured out how to stop it. Of course, Belichick figured out how to stop the run game out of that set and it pretty much stalled the entire offense.
No.
I still think McVay's a good coordinator,
He is.
and he has some good points, and they have good players that they can throw to. Cup and Robert Woods, of course. Me and Horse like Robert Woods, and he's pretty good. But
Why is that?
Yeah, I wonder why.
because he went to USC.
Ah,
But I think this division is going to be fun. But right now, if I had to judge, I would say Seattle and the 49ers are up on top. Even though the 49ers lost to the Cardinals, I think by the time they get everybody back, they're right towards the top right with Seattle. But I'm not going to put them over Seattle until they beat Seattle.
correct. And can we just mention the fact that the NFC East is even worse than I originally thought they were going to be?
Garbage.
They are really bad.
One of
they're
their
Nashville.
teams doesn't have a name.
I mean,
I actually like that mascot, the football team.
I do like the football team.
They
I
are-
don't.
I mean, they're not America's team. They're the football.
The football team.
I mean,
Oh look, it's little footballs.
I don't know if one of those teams belongs in the NFL. After I just watched them get beat by a preseason squad by 30.
My
today.
God.
Yeah.
There's an argument to be made for it, but no, I mean, it's really bad in the NFC East. It's really bad in the NFC East, but I'm glad. I'm happy about it because, like you said, there is the extra playoff spot this year, and there's a good chance it's going to be 3 teams out of the NFC West.
I just don't see Nick Foles losing a game.
Apparently, we got a big Nick Foles fan on the podcast.
Right.
That's crazy. I never would have guessed it. Who would have thought?
I like it because it bothers people that like Carson Wentz.
Tune in Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific to check out our full recap and breakdown of the 49ers win against the New York Giants on Sunday.
Absolutely. Stay safe.
And remember, the right way.
It's always the 49ers way.
Yeah.